Hi, I'm Eunice, and I am a 63-year-old mother and grandmother, proud to be the age that I am because it's a privilege. Many don't make it this far, and appreciating and juicing life every day. But in today's video, I'm going to show you how I dermaplane my face, get off rogue hairs, even those ones that are here in the nose. We're going to do all of that in today's video, so let's get started. In today's video. Number one is a tweezer set like this. It has all kinds of things like scissors, different types of tweezers. I tend to use the same one most of the time, all the time on my face. But I love this little set because it comes here and it snaps in this little packet right here and keeps everything nice and secure, and I don't have things floundering around in my makeup bag. The next thing I'm going to use is this wall nose hair trimmer. Yes, I'm going to use a nose hair trimmer right on camera and show you that I use this. And the last thing I'm going to show you, well, the last thing is going to be this is my dermaplaner that I'm going to be using on my face. I'm also going to be using a mirror that is 15x magnification because I am blind as a bat and I can't wear glasses while I'm doing this because no, I just have to have a mirror here and be close with you. For light, I have plenty of light. I actually have, it's a door mirror that you hang over the door here with, I taped on those LED strip lights on there so I could have some good light to be able to do this because I don't have great light in my bathroom. So I wanted to do this with you right here with some good light. Wanted to show you also, these are the normal cloths that I wash my face with and stuff at night. They're velour and very soft. I also have these cloths, which are disposable, but they're very sterile, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. And since I'm not at a sink, a little squeeze bottle. This is what my room looks like. I've been traveling for 3 weeks, and I literally had enough time between each trip to just come home and repack. But I'm actually home for a week now before company arrives at my house. And I thought I'm going to sit down and do a video of kind of what I do when I get back from a trip and I need to kind of take care of this whole visage right here. Because there's a lot of things that I don't bring on the trip with me necessarily because I just try to pack as light as possible. And one of those things is dermaplaning. I don't bring a dermaplaner on my trip, especially if I'm going to be coming back. If I'm going to be gone a really long time, like a month, 6 weeks or something, then I will probably bring it, but I don't bring it with me. So let's get started and just show you some things that I use and what my process is when I want to dermaplane my face. A little history about me is I have had rosacea since I hit menopause. And it just has been something that I've I wouldn't say I've struggled with it. It's something that I'm just, it's kind of like my new normal. I just kind of have to get used to it. But when I wanted to start dermaplaning my face, I was scared to do it because it seemed like anything, like if I used a regular washcloth, would just set out a rosacea flare. And I thought, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want something that might be something that's going to cause it to be more irritated. So a friend of mine said, hey, you should try this dermaplaner and see how well it works for you. And I did, but I developed a little process along with that to help me. I will either dermaplane at night after I've washed my face and everything's on it, or in the morning when I wake up. And there's two reasons for that. At night, I'll do it. I'll take my makeup off. And I always do this, folks, with nothing on my face, zero on my face. So once I wash my face at night before I put on anything, and I'll tell you in a minute why, I don't put on any serums, any lotions, nothing. I just wash my face and just let it dry, just kind of naturally, like pat it dry and let it go. And I make sure it's dry for probably a good 30 minutes. I don't want wet skin or anything like that. And yeah, you're going to see the full me just like this, no makeup, just woke up in the morning. So I'm doing it in the morning. And when I do it in the morning, I also then make sure that the night before I have not used retinol, I have not used glycolic acid, any sort of acids on my face. Because I have rosacea and I'm a little bit sensitive, so I want to make sure that I'm not going to create more irritation. It's going to get more bumps and redness in my face. All right, so let's get started. Because I'm doing it in the morning, and again, no product on my face that's harmful. I have a leftover moisturizer from my face, but I want to get that off. And I can, like I said, I don't use regular washcloths. I use these on my face when I want to dermaplane. And why? Well, it's because these are sterile. They pretty much are sterile when they come out of here. They're clean. There's no residue. And I just want to make sure that I'm getting my face, any oils and anything off of my face. So I want to just go through. Watch, you probably see like maybe I didn't clean my face as well the night before. And just make sure that anything that the dermaplaner is going to be touching is wiped free of any lotions, because I also don't want that on the dermaplaner. And I don't want to use any soap or anything. I never use soap on my face in the morning. I only wipe my face down in the morning. And normally I use these, which are these nice little velour cloths. They're so soft. I cannot use a normal washcloth on my face. As soon as I do, it's going to just end up with these bumps and craziness all over my face. So I don't do that. So these are the things I use when I need to put makeup remover on and then wipe it off. And then I'd wash my face and rinse this and then wipe my face down. And I just let these hang dry. And I get like a set of 12 of these. And I just keep them in my bathroom and wash them once a week and reuse them. Why don't I use this in the morning? I could. I think because I'm a little hypersensitive about the rosacea and it getting kicked back up. There are a lot of things that will sometimes cause my rosacea to just flare. It could be food, could be stress, but I just know that I've used these and these are nice and strong. I mean, I've taken these on travels with me, and when a place has, regular washcloths and I don't want to take my velour ones, I take a couple of these. They also make them in little folded up little packets that you can easily slip in your purse or in your toiletries bag, so you don't have to just grab a bunch out of something like this. It's actually the same brand that makes these. These cloths are great. I also use them at night to wash other areas of my body. I do not... it's going to be a whole nother video. I don't use soap on most of my body, but there are parts that we need to wash to get with some soap to get the bacteria and stuff off. So this for me, I'm just going to be out there and say it. I like to wash out my crotch or my vaginal area every night before I go to bed. I just like that nice clean feeling. And it's, it's one of those things that I don't have to worry about it being on a face cloth. I don't like to share my face cloth and my body cloths together. I do not shower every night. I sometimes just want to clean up, and these are great for that. But let's get started. All right. Now, this is also the time that I do things like look for little chin hairs. And I don't know what it is. As I've gotten older, I get little hairs in here, in my nose, right here. They start to just drive me crazy. I pluck my eyebrows. I do all of that. So the first thing I do is just get my hair pulled back. All right. And if I'm going to be doing it, I use a mirror like this. This is a 15x magnification because I'm blind as a bat without my glasses on. And obviously, if I'm going to be doing certain things around my face, I can't have glasses on when I do it. So I use this, and I will apologize ahead of time. I'm still learning to film all of this kind of stuff with a mirror and things in the way. But the first thing I do is I get my little set with all of my little tweezers and stuff like that, and my scissors, and I look for any rogue chin hairs or something and take those off. So let's see if I have anything on here. Let's see. There. Right there, see that? See if I can do this with you here. There's a little hair. A little rogue chin hair. It's coming in kind of gray. It was dark. In some ways, that's good. It's harder to see, but now it's harder to see for me to pluck it out, too. All right, here we go. Can you see that? Can you see that little hair? I think that's the only one I have, but I'll keep checking. It's always in the same spot. It's always that one rogue chin hair. I also get that rogue eyebrow sometimes. The one that's like long and it starts to get, I'm starting to get those too. I'm also starting to get gray eyebrows. Yeah. Gray starts to come everywhere. And if it's something really rogue and I can't get it to stay where I want it, I'll pluck it out of there. But I don't see anything really drastic. And one thing I love about getting older is I don't have to pluck my eyebrows that often anymore. Now, I come from the era where you plucked your eyebrows really thin, that 1970s, you plucked them thin. And after plucking them for so long, they just don't come back or anything like that. So I just don't have to pluck my eyebrows hardly at all anymore. Every once in a while I'll get some in here and I just pull them out, but I don't worry about it that much anymore either. All right, now it's these. I get these little hairs right here in my nose. So the first thing I do is use this little tool right here to kind of clip anything kind of long that gets in there. I don't know what it is with this I never had that, but this little thing does this trick. It's just, you'll hear it. Hear it? And those little hairs in my nose get trimmed out. Don't go in too far. Just the ones around the edge here. It's really the only ones I care about. In case they grow kind of long and stick out. Okay, is that it? Okay, that's good. I'm just gonna take this and usually I kind of run it under water and clean it out because, you know, yuckies in there. It's all yuckies. And clean that off. And then I'm gonna take this wet rag and I'm gonna go clean all those little hairs that it's cut out of my nose. And just make sure that there's not just hair sitting there. And that way this is all cleaned out. Now, if I have something right along the edge of my nose, like right here, I'm going to pluck those out. Make sure there's no little boogers or something in there. This is just me raw, folks. It's just me raw. This is how I am at home. And I just go and I just pluck these the little ones that are right at the edge of my nose. I have this nose that kind of turns up and I have this area that's an area you can kind of see. And so if there's a hair or something, I just don't think, for me, I don't like that look. So I'm going to pluck all those out and just take my little tweezers and go along and find a series of little hairs like that. And then I go in here. If I see like a kind of darker hairs and pull those kind of off. I don't know what it is about this age, but these hairs don't go white. Yeah, why don't these hairs go white so you don't see them? Answer me that. Let's go over here again, just looking right here and plucking out. I may not get them all out here for you today, but just kind of showing you, this is my routine. About every 3 weeks or so that I kind of go through this and kind of just make sure things are cleaned up, that I just don't have as much like wild hair sticking up all over the place. All right, we're going to get into this right now, which is the dermaplaner. There are many people who use like a dermaplaner with a blade and all of that. I had someone dermaplane my face once and they cut me. So then I was put off from dermaplaning. I'm like, no. I'm not ever doing that again. And then my dear friend Robin said, have you ever tried this one? And I was at her house. I'm like, no, what is that? And I was like, I thought it was a vibrator at first, but no, it does vibrate, but that's not what you use it for. But it is a little electrical one that you can see that. Let me see if I can get you to see this easier against something. Maybe if I hold it up against this. That the little edges of the blade are kind of like a serrated edged thing. And this is electric and it's going to turn on, has different, I don't know if you can hear that, put them in the mic. Different speeds of oscillation or vibration that it goes through to help you cut the hair and get some of the dead skin off of your face. So now that I wipe my face, it's kind of been drying here as I've been talking to you and I don't have any wet moisture on my skin. We're going to go ahead and start this. Now, I just use it on the lowest one. I hit my mirror here so I can see because I'm blind as a bat. And I always start here on the side. And for those of you who look at this, I get all these wiry hairs right here. My hairdresser said, well, let's just cut those off because they were like, I looked like Einstein or something. I always start here and just, you'll hear it. And you can kind of see in my face here. And look at this. The hairs. See, kind of coming off. If you look closely, you see the fuzz. You see it fly off of there? That's the fuzz and the skin kind of coming off my hair. I sometimes take this wet rag and just kind of wipe it down just to get anything off and just keep going. And you'll see here, and if you're using a mirror like this to do this, you can really see it. It is really taking off. I take my tongue sometimes like this. I'm go near. Most of my fuzziness is like on this side or the sides of my face. I don't have a lot in the center, so most of it is over here, which is why I start. You'll see here, like even along my jawline. This is where I get quite a bit of fuzz. Yeah. I'm doing it without the mirror right now because you can see it kind of falling off. Yeah. And you can see that's very safe. I'm not cutting my face or anything like that. It's not something where it's going to cut into my face. It's angled, as you can see here. It has an angle to it that's going to allow it to kind of glide along your face. And by the way, I'm not sponsored by this company. It's just something that my friend told me to use, and I like it. And I will go over my whole face, even up along my eyebrows in here. Different angles. Does it matter which way you go on your face? I don't know the answer to that. I'll be honest with you. I think if you go against the hair, like sometimes when you're shaving your legs, your underarms, it may have something where it maybe lifts the hair a little more and you can get it a little closer. So you might just want to experiment with this and just go one way and another way. What I find with the faster oscillation is that when I want to get up here, like near my brows and stuff like that, these hairs, it just kind of takes it off a little bit fast, a little bit closer, I guess, for me. So I start off with the lower, and then when I want to finish up, I'm going to go toward the higher oscillation. When I get down here toward my chin, you know, you get those little like darker hairs here. I like the faster. See, I started hormone replacement therapy. I'm getting the zits again. I haven't talked to you about that yet because I just started it, so I have no idea how it's going to affect me. I don't know about you, but all the little hairs that I started to have like around my lip got a little bit darker as I got into menopause a little bit, but it was many years later, like not when I first started, like 10 years after menopause, it got in there. Now I do this, and I'm going to try to do this with you. I get a little bit of eczema right here on my nose, and it's just something I get. I don't know why. I don't think it has anything to do with rosacea, but I get this little dry patch here, and this kind of takes off that dead skin. Okay. And I'll be honest, the first time I used this, I was still scared, but now that I use it, I'm not scared of it at all. Let's do this side and see. See, there's fuzz all over that thing. I just like to just clean it off with that rag. And I'm one of those people, I switch hands. I just do. I use both hands. I do get in here in between my eyebrows a little bit. If I have any little... You don't realize how difficult this is to do, to talk to you and try to look in this and get this out of the way and make sure you can see, and then I'm not going to shave off a whole eyebrow. There's a talent to this now. On my forehead, I generally go this way. I don't know. I think because my forehead has a lot of wrinkles in it, and I kind of gets caught on those wrinkles a little bit. I might do this through here again, but I don't have a lot of hair, but I sometimes get some dead skin on my forehead. So even though there's not a lot of hair, I like to just kind of go through it. Oops, I turned it off. That's what happens when I'm talking and trying to dermaplane. Now, for all of you who say that, hey, you know, if you shave this, it's going to come back thicker, wrong. That is not true. The hair that comes out of the follicles of your skin are only a certain size. That's like saying, well, if I shaved my head, my hair would come back thicker. That's absolutely not right. Your hair only comes out as thick as the follicle. It looks thicker at first because when you have hair naturally come out of a follicle, it eventually gets kind of down to a point and it looks finer. But once you shave something off, as it grows back out, it's kind of blunt and it just looks thicker, but it's not any thicker. So any of you making those comments, please do your research. That is completely a myth. But this is just going to help not only get some of the hair off my face, the little fuzz that gets a little thicker as I've gotten older, but it's also going to help kind of get that dead skin that as we get older, we don't shed as readily as we did when we were younger. And a lot of people like to use things like, you know, physical exfoliants on your skin. Well, for me, I can't use that. It just makes my rosacea flare. And I remember even when I was younger, I'd use those physical exfoliators and my skin would just get like kind of irritated. That's why you use things like glycolic, blah, 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 I can talk. That's why you use things like and I can spit while I'm talking too. Jesus, sorry about that. This is why you use things like glycolic acid, mandelic acid, tranexamic acid, things like that that are chemical exfoliants that help break down those cells, and so that when you wash your face or stuff, it'll help get those off without using something that's rough. For many people, just using a wash rag is good enough for exfoliating your face, but for me, it's something that tends to actually irritate my rosacea. It's the last thing I need. So I use things like this that are softer. They're not going to exfoliate my face as well. And this is kind of my physical exfoliant, I guess, that I only do like maybe every 3 weeks. I want to give my skin some time to heal and build up. Could you do it more often? I think it really just depends on the person. For me, I don't need to do it more often. And if you feel like you do need to, give it a try. I honestly am not an expert at this at all. I've just started using it in the last 9 months or something like that. But it's something that I do notice that when I do this and I go to put makeup, especially foundation on my face, it's just smoother looking, and it's something that also makes my face feel really soft. So I don't have that blessed face like my mom. She's got the most gorgeous skin. Even at almost 90, her skin is awesome. I have a mixture because I'm Caucasian and, Asian, and I tend to get that kind of like little fuzzy hairs here and things like that. And my skin just needs a little bit of this to help exfoliate it. Men shave their faces like every day. So they're kind of doing this every day with a regular razor and kind of getting all this off, and we don't. Now, my mom's Asian, and this is a very typical thing for Asians to do. My mom used to shave my face when I was younger because that's what Asians do, and they didn't do it to get the hair off. It was to basically exfoliate the dead skin. So I think that's why you see a lot of Asians with beautiful, beautiful skin. I don't think my mom does this any longer. I've never seen her do it, but I haven't really talked to her about it actually either. Her skincare routine is very basic now. She's almost 90, so her skincare routine is very, very basic. Now, after I do this, when I'm done doing, all right, I can turn that off. Wow, there's kind of like fuzzy stuff all over the place here. So what I'm going to do now is use this cloth again, and I'm not at my sink, so I'm just going to use my little spray bottle here. And I'm going to just wipe my skin down. So I'm just going to just plain old water, nothing else. And when I do it on a day like today, I will not put nothing on my face after today. So this is all day today. It's a big editing day for me, and I don't have any special thing I'm doing. So I will go all day with no lotion, nothing on my face. And the reason for that is I've just taken off all of that layer off my skin, and I want my skin to just kind of breathe. Because I do use product on my skin, I think once in a while I like to just take all this off and let my skin just breathe for the whole day, to say nothing on it. Plus, because I'm sensitive with rosacea, I don't want to start putting on azelaic acid, mandelic acid, or tranexamic acid, or anything on my face, because I've kind of taken off that layer, and I kind of want to just let it rest and breathe. Just let it breathe. So today will be a day that I will go with no makeup, no lotion, no nothing. All right, I want to show you here. I'm trying to get the light in to see where it's just shiny and soft. Like when your boyfriend or your father, someone shaves their face and right after they hug you, and it's so soft. That's what it feels like. It just feels like a baby's butt or something like that. I might put a little bit of Aquaphor or lanolin right here because I have that little eczema thing. But generally, I just kind of leave it go. Just for one day, let it breathe. And then at night, gentle washing and putting on a skin barrier recovery cream that doesn't have any serums or anything else in it. It's literally just to kind of put moisture into my skin. but everyone's different. You might be someone who can put the retinols and the glycolic acids or whatever it is on your skin, but I give my skin like 24 hours of just nothing, just letting have nothing on my skin. And then the next morning I'll go back to my regular routine. But that's just me. It's just what I like to do. But right now my skin feels amazing, and I can see like this, like a shine. So now I know when I put makeup on, it's going to look really, really smooth. All this with the hair and everything, I just kind of clean this off. And then it does, you can get blades for it and change it out. Since I'm only using it like once every 3 weeks, I use the blade a couple of times. I mean, how dull can it be? I'm not shaving a huge beard off my face. I'm just trying to get some of the skin and stuff off of my face. Many of you see me usually with full makeup on, and you're probably looking at me now going, she says she has no makeup on her face, but it looks like she has eyeliner on. And so the truth is, about 30 years ago, I had tattoo eyeliner and eyebrows put on because I have lupus, and at that point, I lost almost all my eyelash and eyebrows and part of my hair, which all didn't come back completely, but for a lot it did. My eyebrows, that's why they're really thin and sparse right here, is they just didn't come back fully. And if you look at my lower eyelashes, they are very sparse as well, and they didn't come back fully. And at the time, I had tattoo eyeliner. But the first time they put it on, it didn't stay on. Like I left the parlor, I woke up the next day, and there were little black lines of stuff like all over my pillowcase. And when I looked in the mirror, there was no tattoo on them. So I went back to her and I said, hey, look, something's wrong here. I'm not paying for something that, didn't work. And she said, oh, well, let me try again. And she said, you're going to have to wait like a couple weeks because I was swollen and everything. You have to give yourself some time. So like a month later, I went back and she did it. She said, she was starting to put it on and she kind of stopped. And I said, what's wrong? She said, your skin is just not accepting this tattoo. It's just not. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, I don't know. I've never, ever seen this happen. It's not accepting the tattoo. So I'm going to have to use more permanent ink. And I said, well, I thought that's what all tattoos were. And she said, no. She said, for face tattoos, we sometimes use ink that will fade or go away after 3 to 5 years so that you will have to come back and get it done. And I was like, what? She said, yeah. She said, but we do have ink that's more permanent, and that's probably what I'm going to have to use on you. I'm like, okay. So she did it, but it still didn't stay completely and peeled off, but a little bit right here on the edges of my eyes, because it used to be like kind of all around, because I needed that because I had no eyelashes at all. And here that stayed on a little bit, and everything she did on my eyebrows did not stay on at all. She could never get that to work. So I have nothing left in my eyebrows and just that little bit in the corner. So that's why it looks like sometimes, even when I'm completely barefaced like this with you, that it looks like I have makeup on, but I have nothing on my face. Literally have nothing. I'll prove it just with this. There's nothing on my face at all. Nothing on my face. So just wanted to clarify that with you. I've had a couple of people comment and say, well, you must have makeup on. I can see eyeliner, but no, this is just who I am. Nothing, not even moisturizer on my face. All right, I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Listen, do me a favor. If you like this video, could you please comment, share, give it a like, because that's going to help the algorithm kind of push my videos out there. And it really helps me as a content creator to know that people are watching and I can get more faces and more people in to the channel. So if you could do that, that would be great. Also, if you like this video, I really think you're going to like this video. And remember to juice life, drink the joy, keep life simple. I'll see you guys in the next video.